Hey everyone, welcome back to the shop, version 1.852739. Start date 1313131313. Sorry, that was a big rock star burp right there. Um, we have parts on order, and that's why we're kind of in a holding pattern with working on a limo, but we're also doing a bunch of other stuff while we're waiting on parts. So, uh, and I'm also figuring out just crazy obscurities that apparently this shit only happens to me. It's one of those you research it all over online, and you're like, no, I'm holding the part in my hand. I know it's a real thing. I know it was manufactured, and everyone's like, never seen anything like that before. The super old guy is like, they never made anything like that ever, and you're like, dude, it's right here. I'm physically holding it, and you hours and hours of research trying to find parts, and then all of a sudden you're like, oh, just out of some weird algorithm, it says, you might be interested in. Turns out that's exactly what the part is. So um, I'll explain that one a little bit better later. As you can see, we have the gas tank. You can't really see, but I'll bring you guys lower in a minute to the working level that I'm at on the floor here with some of this stuff, just because I don't have a bench, so I set everything on the floor. But the gas tank's out of the car still. It all got truck bed linered, and it looks great, and it's going to work really great. And now the gas tank's protected pretty much for the rest of its life. There was still gas in it, which was very kind of amusing. Barely any gas, maybe a gallon or two. But I also found out that's a 24-gallon tank. So, of course, there's no specs on the tank when you look up the part number. It doesn't tell you how many gallons it holds, anything like that. It gives you length, width, and depth. And then you have to go and calculate that and figure out how many gallons. And it turns out it's 24-gallon tank. So I don't know why they couldn't. They have tons of other numbers stamped on there, but for some reason they couldn't stamp 24 space GAL. That was too much. Too much. So anyway, I mean it's really simple shit like that, and it drives me crazy because it's like they're doing all this other stuff. Why can't they just add that in there? So anyway, the tank got TBL'd, 2 coats of primer, 2 coats of truck bed liner. It should save that tank for the rest of its life. The other good part is the tank was silver, and now it's black from the TBL, so that also gives it a little more stealth, kind of like this crap muffler install that these guys did. There's like another 4 inches they actually could have hidden it up in the fender well, but again, you talk to the guy, you explain to him that's where it needs to go, you get the head nod, they completely understand, and then you pick up the car and this is what you get. So um I don't get it. It's I don't know. Maybe you just have to double check everything now. Are you sure? Are you sure you understand what I'm saying? All the way up, not to be seen, all the way up, totally hidden, can't see it, all the way up. Instead, they spray painted it black. Yeah. So, tank's out. While the tank was out, I had the straps. There are 2 gas tank straps that go from the body chassis of the car, and they go up and they bolt up into the chassis, and that's what holds the gas tank in place. So I'll show you one of the straps. This guy. So these are the gas tank straps. If I can get in frame here. And these, seriously, these got brushed, and they got some primer, and then they got metallic silver on them. So it'll contrast nicely with the gas tank itself. Now, the other thing I got, and I just got this at the hardware store, is I got this sponge window seal. And again, this is really funny. So they have 1/2 inch, 3/4 inch. Sorry, they have 1/8 inch, or no, 1/4 inch. Yeah, 1/8 inch, 1/4 inch, 1/2 inch, 3/4 inch, and then it immediately goes to 1 1/4. There's no 1 inch. So anyway, I just needed 1 inch strap or 1 inch foam for this. So we're going to be adding this stuff. You can kind of see what it is right there. We're going to be adding that to the underside of this to help protect the tank, corrosion, a little less vibration, little, fewer bubbles in the tank, that sort of thing. Whatever we have left from the straps will actually go on top of the tank on the higher sections, and that will also help protect the tank, et cetera, et cetera. So just waiting for these to dry a little bit more. They were in the Florida sun all day today. They got very, very dry very quickly. So I'm just going to hang this guy back up, let him dry. So I'll explain the other part of waiting for parts. This is just so insane. This is what I'm talking about with crazy how my life works. So all right. I'm going to bring you guys down to the ground, but not too low. Okay. Use these. Oh, so clip stuff. Okay. So we'll go for a little ride here. You guys are okay. You're okay. You are okay. Hopefully I'll still be in the shot. Come down here and we'll do a little campfire. Oh, look. Yeah, this is so silly. Okay. So I'm going to try and rotate you guys and move you a little bit here. Let's get a slightly better view. Okay. Maybe. Oh, God. This is the part that sucks about being 6'1" and you just bonk into everything. So what we've got is this is our fuel level sending gauge. And what this guy does is when your tank is empty, and you have to play along. Normally he sits like this. Empty, full. Of course, that's on the wrong side for the camera. Empty, full. And what's in here, in this, is it's called a rheostat. And what it does is it measures resistance. So here you're going to have a very specific resistance halfway, and then all the way up you'll have your max resistance. There's a lot of different resistance value rheostats that are available. They go all over the place, from 0 to 500, from 0 to 100, from 220 to 30. They work backwards. It's a very normal thing, but there's no kind of standardization with anything, with any manufacturer, with any of these fuel gauge senders. And so you just kind of, you have to figure out, if you don't know the car, you have to figure out what's in there if you want to run a gas gauge. Now, this car hasn't had a gas gauge in probably 30 years, maybe longer, but I got a gas gauge for it, which you can see in my little Fast and Furious pod here. And there you go. There's the gas gauge. Now, what's going to happen is the gas gauge will move over to one side. We'll have the air pressure gauge on the other side with the switch to turn it on and off. These are super cheap on Amazon. They're $10. Some magnets will go right here, and then it'll get clipped on, and I can move it wherever I want in the car. So anyway, there's our gas gauge and our Fast and Furious gauge. So now we will have a gas gauge in the car, and we'll be able to tell where our fuel level is. Do we have a full tank? Do we have half a tank? Do we have an empty tank? With the rheostats and measuring resistance, you need an ohm meter. So that's why we have our, this is just a Harbor Freight. I think it's 25, 30 bucks for this digital multimeter, and it'll do 90% of the stuff you need to do in your shop. Super cheap, super easy, comes with cool leads and all that. So I want to make sure he's measuring correctly. This is hard to balance on one arm. He should be reading about 70 to 80 right here. And of course he's not. So I'm going to prop this up so you guys will be able to see it. I need to use two hands. So apologies for positioning. So if I come all the way up here, he should read 180. He's not. This is part of the reason why we ordered a new one, and that'll be here tomorrow. The problem is finding this one, and I'll explain that. So I don't know what's happening with this guy, but at the bottom, he should be reading 70 ohms, and he's not. It's not anywhere near that. And at the top, he should be reading 80. So let me turn on a light so you guys can see this. I don't know if you guys can see that. So see how he's bouncing all over the place? 190. And then here at full, he's at 219. He should be reading about between 70 and 80. But obviously this thing is malfunctioning hard, right? Whoops, give me the light back. So this guy's malfunctioning. Oh, what do we got here? Hey, Liz. Hey, temp user. I don't know who you are. It just says temp user. So anyway, this should be reading 70. This should be reading 180. But of course, this whole unit is not working correctly. This whole unit is also from probably the late 70s, early 80s. And all we're measuring is, we just have two connections on here. We just have a positive terminal and a negative terminal. And this got clear coded because I thought I'd be able to use this unit. And then I tested it and I was like, hey, I'm not going to be able to use this unit. So we're just going to pitch this. I do need the wiring. Now here's where the fun part came in. I'm just going to disconnect all this because we don't need the multimeter right now. By the way, if you don't have a multimeter in your shop, you don't have to be hardcore electrical engineer. You use this for testing and you know, a whole bunch of other stuff. Please get a digital multimeter. Please, they're like, they have super cheap ones, like 10, 20 bucks at Harbor Freight. You can get them even cheaper online. So please just go get one. So these guys, my little lamps. So yeah, you just have two leads off here. One of them is power and the other one is ground. You want to make sure this is grounded because technically there's a rubber O-ring here which will negate any kind of grounding you have on the tank. So you want to have a very solid ground on this. Number one, to get accurate readings. Number two, to not spark anything and blow yourself up, set your gas tank on fire. That is always bad. It's never a good thing. So the other thing I found, which I thought was kind of interesting when I pulled this out, hey, where the hell's the sock? There should be a sock down here. where, it just, the gas rides in it and fuel gets sucked up and sent to the engine. And there should be a sock down here that operates as a filter. So as I was painting the tank, I'm kind of like moving stuff around and I hear something, and I found the sock floating around inside the tank. I don't know how long this has been off, but this acts as kind of a pre-filter. Now, fortunately, with the 383 and the Sniper, I have a pre-filter and a post-filter by the fuel pump. So anything that was in the tank, any gunk or dirt or whatever, got caught by those guys. But with this off and the original 305 engine that this came with, I'm guessing that was part of the reason why that engine shit the bed, was it just sucked a whole bunch of this stuff up. So this guy normally slips on here and he goes like that. And that's how he stays. And he's happy as a clam. And then any kind of dirt that falls in the tank or bad contaminants in the fuel or whatever, anything that's kind of big will get caught by this before it goes up and sent to your engine. So that is that's that. So this guy turned out to be faulty, extremely faulty, and so I looked for a replacement. And I looked and I looked and I looked for all years Cadillac, not just 1980. I looked everywhere, and I found a ton of options, but nothing. Everything had 3 lines out, which you can see there's a mount here for the 3rd line, which is usually for an evap, a canister, charcoal canister, something like that. And this does not have that. It's also entirely unnecessary for this. I also need to figure out, make sure I have the correct depth because the gas tank is only so deep. And then I need to make sure I have the correct ohmage for the sender. So I looked and I looked and I looked, and Cadillac never, ever offered anything with a rheostat from 70 to 180. Couldn't find anything like that. I couldn't even find just the dual port. So, I mean, I looked everywhere. Hell, I looked on Russian sites. I couldn't find anything. So eventually I'm looking at other parts and on other pages, and I'm scrolling down and I'm looking for specs, especially on the ohmage. And down below it says, you might be interested in. And I'm like, holy shit, that's exactly what I'm looking for. It's this exact unit, brand new, 0 to 90 for ohmage, same filter, the exact same round float, right? And 2 lines. It's for a 1978 Cutlass, sorry, 77 Cutlass, or a 77 Buick. That's what they put these in. And that's what this is out of. It is not out of a Cadillac. So when they got the replacement tank, they got whatever would work from the junkyard. And I'm guessing that's what this is. Honestly, I have no idea when they were doing the build on this, how they did it. But GM had so many different fuel level pickup and senders, pickup tube senders, that, I mean, there's got to be 50 different variations on the same thing. So it took a while, but I did find it. It'll be here tomorrow. It will also get clear coated, and then we can install the tank. Now, it's kind of a pain in the ass to put the tank up there because this is on the top of the tank, so it's not accessible. I don't know why manufacturers wouldn't put a access plate in there where you could pop the access plate, change this out. Silly me. But there's no access plate, so you actually have to drop the tank to get to this. Not a huge deal if it's empty. It's a huge deal if it's full. So just do 25 times 8. That's how heavy that gas tank is, plus the weight of the tank. So replacing this has been a huge, huge endeavor. I did not want it to be, but it turned out to be. I learned a lot that even though they're a major manufacturer, they don't standardize anything. It's all different stuff from a whole bunch of different manufacturers, and there's variations on it for some reason. I have no clue. They might have standardized since, but they definitely didn't do it back then. Um, and you're asking, why does one of these have a zip tie on it? That's how I marked it, just so I know send and return. I know it now, but when I took it off, I didn't really know. So now we know. And also, this return is a little different. There should be a little, there's like a little bulb on there that sends the fluid up and then down, and that's to de-aerate it. Like if there's any air or anything, it's supposed to make it not foamy, to help with not making it foamy. So this one obviously doesn't have that. It should be right there. And so this, it worked at one time, but now it doesn't work. And I need a gas gauge in this because I can't drive it around, just continually filling it up every half hour. So I'd like to know how much gas is in it. And that's why we're doing all this stuff. So that's a good part. We have a new part on order. It'll be here tomorrow. Be able to put the gas tank back up, and we'll have a gas gauge. The other cool part is this also illuminates, so we'll be able to use it when we have the lights running, which is great. And it also, of course, it's Fast and Furious, so it's got 7 different colors, and you can cycle through the colors. We're going to leave it on white with black. We're going to keep it stupid simple. So that's that. We're going to use, I think it comes with the new leads, but if not, I have the originals. And, the new one also comes with a ground, which this one did not have. And there's no spot where it would have been on here. Like, I never saw a spot where it got removed. The ground actually helps ground this out, and it goes up to the chassis the same way that the ground works on this, but it's a second ground for the stuff inside, just in case you I don't want to say you can't have too many grounds. You can. I've seen a lot of Nissans with too many grounds, but when you're dealing with fuel and things that spark, it's better to have grounding. That's just me. One other thing, actually, yeah, we'll just do one other thing tonight. Since we're waiting on parts, it kind of sucks. By the way, if you do have something like this that's very specific to your car, and you have a rheostat and it doesn't read what you need it to for your fuel gauge, you can change it. You can add resistors to the wiring, and if you follow Ohm's law and do the calculations with the Ohm's law, you can raise or lower the resistance at either end in order to help match your gauge. That's kind of the long way to do it versus getting the right gauge. So there are 2 different ways to do it. Getting the right gauge that's ready to read whatever this does is a much, much quicker and easier option than going through and calculating all the wiring and soldering stuff and doing things in series or in parallel. It's just easier to get the right gauge. So this thing worked as a pickup tube. It does not work as a fuel level sender. So this guy, unfortunately, is all done. So last thing I wanted to tell you guys, and this is a sort of a shop trick, kind of like the multimeter. Get a spare battery for the shop, and you can keep it on a maintainer. Get one of your Noco Genius maintainers. Doesn't have to be huge. It can be a 1 amp or a 2 amp, and just keep it on there. This is the spare battery. This is a 12 volt. Now this one's really cool. This is a Noco lithium, and this weighs as much as like a large Pepsi from Wendy's. So he's not very heavy at all. Like I can throw it to my friend. This is the NLP 30. This is not a lot of cold cranking amps, but it is very long lasting. It is 12 volts. I don't remember the amperage on this, but it is a really great battery, especially for around the shop when you need 12 volts. And for testing lights or testing stuff, you can, they have all these great, like these terminals. Of course, I can't turn it. These terminals pop off. You can add just test wires to it, like these little alligator clip wires, and then they can clip to whatever you want. And there you go. He's clipped on there, and then he can clip to whatever wire you want. It's great for testing. Super lightweight, so he's portable. So if I want to test something in the dark versus in the shop, like the headlights that I'm testing, I take it down the street where there's no street lights or anything like that. There's only alligators, and I can, walk with this while I'm holding the light, check angle, check throw, check all of that stuff. That makes it very, very handy. So for checking stuff in the shop, just a 12-volt battery. If you have to, you can use an old AGM or flooded. That also works. But I was using this guy when we were testing the gauge because we need 12 volts for the gauge to work. So this is another one. These batteries are not cheap, but they will last a very, very long time. And they are excellent because they're super lightweight. If you're going to the track or something, you can use this to help jumpstart. You can use it for, kind of any 12-volt power. So it's nice, nice power source to have. And it doesn't come with this red tape. The red tape was on the red terminal. That's why. So normally it's just a black battery. I just added the paint markers for positive and negative. I honestly, I don't remember how much they cost, but they're great. Definitely a great thing. And they don't, the little lithium guys don't suck up a lot of space. It's not like a big, Group 26 battery. So that's kind of it for parts update, shop update, stuff like that. I wish I had more for you guys, but I don't. I do have a funny one for you. Hang on, I'm going to bring you back up because it's hard laying down like that on the concrete. No one likes that, right? So let's fold this out of the way. So there we go. That's a little bit better. So I got a message from my friend Brad today, who's Brad's brilliant. He's a super duper IT guy. He's helped me out with tons of Mac issues over the years. Big car guy too, and huge Mopar guy. So Brad saw the last stream that we did with A team versus B team, and he said, "Thank God I wasn't watching that live. I would have had nightmares. I would have had sleep terrors about the relay panel wiring." And I thought that was really funny. So yeah, he's a very big proponent of the new relay box that's going to go in there, and we'll get cracking on that. That'll be part of what we do tomorrow as we wait for UPS or FedEx or whoever is going to deliver the sending unit. Once the sending unit goes in, we get this car up. I can get it out of, I can move it around again. Right now, I can't move it without fuel in it. So it'll be nice. And also, yeah, I guess, well, I have 5 gallons here. I guess I'll have to do a few trips to the gas station to figure out, make sure that the gas gauge is working. But I'm, obviously I'll test it prior to installing it in the car, but I need to make sure that it works before and then works in real life. So I got to figure out another 5 gallon. My neighbor's got another 5 gallon. So if we do that, that's 10 plus what's in there is 11. So it should read about half with two 5 gallon tanks. That won't be too bad, right? That'll be a good test. The rest of the stuff you guys see on the ground is for putting the straps back up. The bolts that hold the straps, they got the rust reformer on them. All got totally cleaned up. So we're very clean underneath the tank as well. All of the chassis stuff got wiped down, and it's already been it already has a coating on it, so it's all fine. I don't need to go in and redo that stuff. And that's kind of it. So tomorrow we'll be doing some wiring stuff in the trunk, getting rid of that huge relay panel and installing our very nice, clean little box. And I think that's about it. You guys can't really see it from here. Also, yeah, the license plate bracket will be here. So what will happen is and I'll bring you guys over to the back. I just want to show you this. So this is, make sure I'm not going to run into something. This is the license plate actuator. And what it does, it's complete and total overkill. It's an actuator, so it goes bzz, bzz. It's for 500 pounds. What does a license plate weigh? An eighth of a pound, whatever it is. This is total overkill, but it's whatever they got. So this is the difference between A team and B team. So when they went to splice wires in here, this is 22 gauge wire. The original wire that comes out of here is a 2-strand. It's actually a 4-strand, I think. Yeah, it's a 4-strand. These are 22 gauge wires. What they did is they ran 14 gauge wires, which are very, very thick and actually provided just a shit ton of resistance. And they did both of them in red. So I don't know which one's positive and which one's negative when I go all the way up into the trunk to wire it up. Come on, you guys. And then they put it in this shitty split loom tubing, which has quickly faded over time. I mean, that's the difference between A team and B team stuff. When you're using huge wire like that, it's entirely not necessary. And then to use both red, that's really bad. If you use them both the same color, when you have a positive and negative. So what'll happen here is when the key goes on, or actually when the car is running, the license plate will go bzzz. Takes about 5 seconds, and it comes down, and the license plate will be, I don't know. Here's my temporary plate. License plate's visible, and then you turn the car off, and it goes bzzz, and it gets hidden up behind the car. Then you go to start the car, bzzz, running and driving around town, totally legal. Park the car, bzzz, it hides the plate. So it's just for a cleaner look and all that. Yes, I have a dent right here. Yes, that has to get repaired. So there's some A team, B team stuff for you. I'm going to keep this because this Spall actuator is actually very expensive and it's very heavy duty. So I'm going to keep it. It's already in the car. It's not interfering with anything else. And then the other thing I need to get is the trim, the rubber seal for this. So trunk is in very good shape. We're also doing new LED taillights. We won't have this white duct tape holding the trim piece in. Yeah, we're going to do some cool stuff on the car. So, yeah, and like these little cracks in the paint, thanks, Ohio. All that stuff will go away when the car gets painted. So I just wanted to let you guys know how, another A team, B team thing. So like I said, B team, this works. If you're in the middle of a firefight in Fallujah, yes, you can do this. You can. That's fine. No one's going to say anything. If you're at Dave Kindig's shop and you do this, you're probably going to get fired. If you do that on purpose without like legit reason, like you're going to be sent home. So just think about stuff before you do it. And I'll try and help you. I'll say, hey, you have a red wire and a black wire. So if you're going to extend them, use matching colors on each wire. So just keep an eye out for stuff like that. And that's the difference between A team work and B team work. So um, hopefully you guys learned something about fuel level sending units. And remember that fuel level sending unit is old school. That is, I mean, they still use similar stuff today, but there's a lot cooler technology. Like Holly has a laser one that measures distance with a laser, which is pretty cool. Unfortunately, it doesn't work with this tank. It actually really only works with race tanks with fuel cells. So they say with popular 5-bolt patterns. The only thing that has a 5-bolt pattern is a fuel cell, like from ATL or Racetech or someone else. Yeah, they don't work on. It doesn't work on a 2018 Mustang. But the fuel level sending units we have here are very similar. Most of them are in tank. A lot of them will have a fuel pump attached to them. It'll be a low pressure, 40 psi fuel pump that's attached to the stock, and that's just how it works. The fuel actually keeps the motor cool, and yeah, it's a little bit dangerous running voltage into gas, but you have a positive and a negative, so they kind of work themselves out, no problem. And it's efficient and it saves space, et cetera, et cetera. So it's a pain in the ass. You have to drop the tank in order to get to the fuel pump. So yeah, it's still they're very similar. They have maybe a little different float design, or like I said, they'll have a pump attached to them. But for older cars, a lot of them are going to have this. This goes back to the 30s, 40s, maybe 40s and 50s. I've seen cars with this type of setup. So just keep an eye out for it. And then also when it comes to GM, remember GM had 20 different makes under them, and they used different parts for each of the makes. They all looked very similar, and then also you don't know who did other work on this. So since I don't know the shop that did this, I don't know anything about this car. I have to figure all this stuff out on my own, and I have to go get the specs, and I have to, correct what, it's not really misinformation. It's just kind of lack of information. I have to fill in all the blanks. So I've been filling in the blanks for a couple of years now. It takes a while, but it's worth it. It'll be a lot of fun when it's all done. So yeah, we'll be back here tomorrow. I'll show you guys the new fuel sending unit, and I'll show you how it works with resistance before we put it in the tank and get it strapped up. And I'll show you on the fuel gauge will be wired up too, so you can see how all that works. Plus, we'll get in the trunk and we'll do the relay panel and get I guess we'll just hook up. We'll do a simple one. We'll hook up the door poppers, because I think that's pretty much the only thing. I think that's the only thing currently in the trunk that we need wired up. So we'll do door poppers and we'll do the fuel sending unit tomorrow night. So thanks everyone for hanging out tonight. I really appreciate it. I'm sorry about my hair. I have no clue what's going on. Is this normal? Should I don't know. Anyway, don't forget to show someone that you love them today. Give them a kiss on the cheek. Give them a kiss on the tip of their nose. Hold their hand. Give it a squeeze. It's really important for them, but it is far more important for you. All right. Thanks, everyone. I will catch you tomorrow, and we'll try and get an earlier start tomorrow, because we're doing a bunch of other stuff. So thanks, everyone. We'll talk to you soon. All right. Have a great night. Cool. Oh, the fan looks cool like that.